welcome to my channel, and thanks for clicking on the video. And this video is going to be about taking the NCLEX, my experience during the exam, what resources I used, which one I felt was most helpful, and some tips that I have. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to start with the resources that I used in general. If you watched my previous videos, you see most of the resources that I used, but I'll talk briefly about all of them again. So the first one is Saunders. So I'm pretty sure you know what the Saunders book is. So that was really helpful for me for systems that I had issues with, and the main two systems for me were endocrine and GI. So I literally read those systems page by page. I wouldn't recommend doing that for the whole book. I mean, except if you have a long time to study for it, or you're doing this before you graduate, if you have time for that. Well, yeah. Okay, so that helped a lot with those two systems, especially the online component of Saunders. So if you didn't know, you could, if you buy a new textbook Saunders, you get the online question bank. So I also did a question bank for that. So it helped me a lot in that area. So the second resource I used was Klimek audios. So these audios were the best thing that happened to me. Maybe not the best thing, but like it was pretty up there. And it was so helpful because he used to make NCLEX questions before, so he knows basically what we need to know. So his audios are like, though quite long, but straight to the point. He tells you exactly what you need to know. No beating around the bush. It was basically like he had a teacher on demand. So the third resource is UWorld. This is really helpful. I only have two issues with UWorld. It's good, yeah. But my first issue is the price, obviously. I got a 3-month one and it was like $200 without taxes. So that's a lot. So my second issue with UWorld is it doesn't have the adaptive component. So although I didn't use it that way, but if you're using UWorld as your only resource, I would suggest finding ways. And one of the resources I'll talk about it covers that. But UWorld is great. I basically studied off of UWorld because like I said, Saunders, I only use it for those two systems, and I think like OB and something. But the rest of my studying was from UWorld. I like basically do the questions, take notes on the rationales, and I would do system by system. I know my counselor recommended otherwise. She wanted me to do like different systems at the same time, but with MedSurg, I just prefer to have done respiratory. I'm doing 50 questions on just respiratory. That way I was able to like know what I was doing, but people are different. Hello guys, I just wanted to put in a clip of my performance on UWorld because I feel like some people might ask for it. So this is my like overall performance. Keep in mind I did not take I didn't use all my questions. I barely did about 1,000 questions, so I was in 76 percentile. And then for my first self-assessment test, I also got a 61%, which was a high chance of passing. Yeah, so that's the first test. And the second test, I basically got the same score, 60%. Still a high chance of passing. So yeah, that's all of my percentages. So my fourth resource is this book. It's called NCLEX Iron Cram Plan. It's pretty small, Cliff Notes too, and I got it off Amazon last year. I don't even know why I bought it that soon, but I didn't use it until like a week before I took the test. This is wonderful. So basically when I was like, there's no way I'm reading all of the Saunders book, I didn't I was getting to a point where I couldn't, it was getting tiring to take notes from UWorld questions. I was like, I need something that I can be like, I want a crash course, and that is what this book is. I recommend you get this book, especially if you're in like a time crunch or you basically don't want to study like that. It's basically the short version of the Saunders book, and I haven't seen it. I only saw one video about it on YouTube, so if you're interested in it, check it out. I think I'll put a link to it. And my last research, which was like my saving grace, especially when it came closer to the exam, is called Nurse Achieve. I haven't seen a lot of videos on this too, which is kind of surprising because they offer something UWorld doesn't offer, which is the adaptive testing. I'm going to make a separate video on Nurse Achieve and show you how it works on my computer, so watch out for that video. But basically, Nurse Achieve shows you like the graph. It tells you if you're below passing grade. It stops at a certain amount of questions, just like you would on the NCLEX. And the major difference that Nurse Achieve and UWorld have is the wording of the questions. So one thing with UWorld is most of the questions are very descriptive. So they give you a lot of information. So that's why it feels harder. But something Nurse Achieve and the NCLEX have in common is like the questions are so straightforward and vague. So most of my NCLEX questions were like 1-2 sentences long. And I was used to like the 3, 4, 5 sentence paragraphs from UWorld. No paragraphs, sentences. So that is something that Nurse Achieve helped me to do, to like get used to. I did a Nurse Achieve, I did an adaptive test every day of the week leading up to my exam. So I was getting into that mood of like, okay, easy, hard, medium. I was just watch out for my video on that. So that's basically all of the resources that I used. And I would say for sure, I mean, if you have the money for it, I would say get all of them. My Klimek is free. Saunders is on Amazon for like $50. UWorld is $200 for 3 months. But this is if you're getting 3-month one. But if you're not getting 3 months, they have cheaper options. And an alternative to UWorld is there's like 2 other websites, Remmer and one other one. I'll put the links to them down below just in case like you're a little broke basically. So and then the book I talked about is pretty cheap on Amazon. I don't remember the price, but it's something that I feel like everyone can afford. And then Nurse Achieve is quite expensive, but if you watch my next video, I'm going to show you a trick on how to get 30 days free, because that's what I did. Because after paying for UWorld, I couldn't dish out another $100 for 1 month. Yeah, Nurse Achieve is expensive. I mean, rightfully so, because I don't think any other company provides the adaptive testing for the NCLEX. So that's all my resources, and I want to talk about the exam itself. So the exam was really weird. I got a lot of questions. I didn't pass the minimum, closer to the maximum amount of questions. So I don't know. It felt weird. Like I said, it's very vague and straightforward, and I don't know. It kind of, it didn't throw me off, but some of the questions were like, I mean, do I just make up stuff? Don't make up stuff. But definitely, it wasn't hard. That's what I would say. It wasn't hard. But I don't want to say, oh, it's easy, because it wasn't easy. But it wasn't hard either. It was kind of like nursing common sense, a lot of the questions. So I feel like if you're on the verge of like wanting to postpone the date, don't, because I guarantee you already know most of the stuff that is on the test, especially if you've used UWorld. So that's what I'll say about that. I was less anxious in the exam hall than I was before going in. My center was really good. I was the first person to get there, so it wasn't. They had noise canceling earphones, so it was pretty calm, pretty straightforward. I spent less than about 2 hours, I would say. So I didn't use all of my time. I didn't take any breaks because, yeah, I wasn't interested in that. So basically, yeah. So my tips, my major tip I would say is start studying. If you can get UWorld at least a month before you graduate, I would suggest that, so you can have time to like take notes and key points note, stuff like that. Especially if you're not trying to spend a lot of time after you graduate studying, I'll recommend that. My second tip is you do fundamentals, leadership, and med surg questions on UWorld. If I personally didn't do any PEDS questions on UWorld, I didn't do any psych questions basically on UWorld. The OB and pharm questions I did were the ones I did before I graduated. So you can call me stupid, but I don't know. I basically just focused on fundamentals, leadership and management, and the major systems, and some of the smaller ones, but the major systems in med-surg. That's what I did on UWorld, and I mean I passed. So that's just for people that I know, not in a rush, but just not, if you're not trying to do the most, that's what I would recommend. And then my other tip is when it gets to like a week or two before your test date, use this and Nurse Achieve to like gauge where you are, and don't be scared. That's what I would say. I mean, it's easy said, and then I literally had a panic attack before going in. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm past. I'm so excited it's over. So if you have any questions, say them down below, and I'll be sure to put links to resources that I used. Yeah, and so watch out for my next video, which is gonna be about Nurse Achieve, a review on Nurse Achieve. Thank you so much for clicking my video. Have a nice day. Thank you.